Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Cool piece to share with you guys today. We're going to take a look at a prototype slip joint from custom knife maker JB Stout. So this one's on loan from my buddy Blake. It's been on loan for quite a few weeks now, so thank you so much for your patience, Blake. Really appreciate it. So here's the card of authenticity, or I don't know, certificate of authenticity, whatever you want to call it. So he calls this model his Fodder Buster slip joint. Blade steel CPM 154, handles of course titanium, and this is number one, the first prototype. So let's get this open, give you guys a good look at this one. Alright, so let's we'll go through the specs, overall impressions, details, all the normal stuff. Do have a few size comparisons. We have a Victorinox Cadet, and then I did end up picking up a GEC. This is a number 54 Big Jack single blade, just to try to get a good feel for the various slip joints out there. So we'll put that one here, maybe put that one there, and yeah, that's about right. Alright, so spec wise, blade length of just about 2.9 inches, handle length of just about 3.9, giving us an overall of just about 6.8 inches. Does weigh in at 3.6 ounces, and again CPM 154, titanium handles, and a slip joint construction. Definitely not a traditional knife by the the standard definition because of the materials and because of the Torx hardware and so forth, but really cool piece. I'm really enjoying these pieces that kind of bridge the gap between traditional knives and modern knives, incorporating what I would consider personally to be the best of both worlds. So let's move this out of the way and let me show you guys the the walk and talk, or the action on it, as compared to the GEC 54 here. So half stop, does have a nice solid half stop, no blade play, and a nice positive close. Certainly a lot of talk, as it's called, and the walk is nice and stout. So very positive. Great sound. Squared off for the most part. Did a little bit of rounding here on the tang, of course, to make it easier to open, but obviously it sits very flat. Alright, so let's compare it to the 54 Big Jack here. So just half stop, pretty solid on the close. So a little bit more positive on the opening when it's fully open than even on the GEC. So now let me tell you guys, so overall impressions, really cool piece. Again, really unique, coming from what is probably one of the most popular makers among tactical knives right now, and I'll tell you a little bit about the story in a minute. But one thing I want to point out that I really like about this piece, and one reason that I really like kind of the more modern traditional style knives over, let's say, the GEC here, is that with this one, your your nail nick here is actually quite difficult to open. It's pretty far back on the blade, and so it requires quite a bit of leverage to open it up. And if I didn't have a nail, I've tried to get it without a nail, and it's actually really difficult. So if you're someone who bites your nails or breaks them off in the shop, this knife would actually be very difficult to open without it. Whereas this really cool fuller that he put on the blade serves as a, kind of a, obviously not a nail nick, but a massive nail nick. So really easy to open, really positive grip, more enjoyable to open essentially. So you don't actually have to have a fingernail to do it. So anyways, the fit and finish is excellent. Everything is mated very well. I've already shown you guys kind of the action, or the walk and talk, as I suppose it's called, on this particular piece. Of course, you guys are seeing the you know, the different colors here of the finish. So this is his trash can finish, and he did heat temper the blade, so you get this really cool bronze. I hope at least some aspect of the lighting is picking up the colors on the blade, but it looks awesome. It looks really nice. So, all right, let's get into the details here. So, of course, as I showed you guys, this is the first one that he sold. It's prototype number 1. And I actually approached JB at a Blade Show this last week. I've never met him in person. Obviously, he was there with the rest of the West Tennessee guys, and they're the West Tennessee Knife Makers Association of West Tennessee. Kind of a tongue-in-cheek group. They have a lot of really dedicated followers, so acquiring, you know, any of Stout's pieces is very, very difficult. Secondary market commands a massive premium. This one being prototype number 1 with the, you know, the colored titanium, the trash can finish, the heat colored blade. I have no idea what secondary is on this one, but I'm sure it's staggering. So again, really grateful Blake has let me borrow it for so long here. But let's take a look a little bit closer. So obviously traditional style knives are meant to be slicers, and man, the hollow grind he put on this thing is absolutely insane. So this is probably the thinnest hollow grind that I've ever felt in person. I mean, it's seriously paper thin at the edge. Obviously transitioned to a thicker blade stock here, but you know, for the task that you would use this thing for, I think it would function well. Would it do an apple cut perfectly without splitting it? Doubtful, you know, at a blade stock that thick here. So anyhow, again, incorporated this harpoon on it. Obviously not traditional in and of itself, but again, it's bridging kind of two markets. It's taking guys who like tactical knives and frame lock flippers and things like that, and it's bringing them into traditional knives, which is never a bad thing. I mean, hobbies like this that are luxuries, you know, a hand-built quality custom knife like this is definitely not a necessity, but it's all about evolution or acceleration, you know, newer, nicer pieces, different pieces. So it's cool to see him incorporating a different style. So I went up to him at Blade, never met him before, never talked to him. Super nice guy, very approachable, very kind. I just didn't know what to expect, so I was surprised that he was so approachable, considering just the long lines, number of fans, difficulty in acquiring his pieces. So I asked him, you know, why did you make a traditional style knife when your frame lock flippers are selling so well and they're so popular? You know, my assumption, and I was hoping that he would validate it, but he didn't, was that the market is transitioning towards, you know, traditional style knives or slip joints. But he said no. He said, I don't really see a transition. He said, I just wanted to do something different. The way he described it, so there's another custom knife maker in the West Tennessee group that he works with, might even be in the same shop. It's a guy last name Blunt. And so he said, I wanted to mother F Blunt, and so I wanted to make a slip joint. And I was like, oh, who taught you how to make the slip joint? And he said, Blunt. So kind of chuckled at that. But that's just the kind of the nature of the West Tennessee guys. So Blunt taught him how to make them. This was the first one he sold, but he said there were a lot of them that went into the trash as he was working towards these. And at Blade, he had one other slip joint that was a lotto piece. It wasn't given the, you know, the tempered color on the blade and the, you know, heat colored titanium here. It was more of a kind of a plain Jane piece. So this one is a little bit more decorated. Anyway, so that's why he wanted to do it. You know, his wording is he wanted to mess with or piss off a fellow maker just for fun. But he sees that he doesn't see the market going that way. It's just two different groups. But of course, the guys who collect his frame lock flippers would be interested in just about anything he makes, you know, fixed blades or this traditional style knife. So let's do some up close looks here before I talk too much. And again, I think he calls this his trash can finish, which I guess someone made fun of him for, and he simply adopted it as the name of the finish. So great mating, Great fit and finish. Of course, it is a handmade knife, so. Alright, so that's the story with this piece. Again, I hope more custom makers, you know, try their hand at some really cool slip joints, incorporating the newer materials, you know, better steels, things of that sort. Jared Ozier, a local guy here in Utah who has not quite this aggressive a style, but uses a lot of modern materials as well. He had a great show. An auction piece went for incredible money, so the interest is there. If you guys have been primarily into the same knives that I have, you know, frame lock flippers, things of that sort, knives on bearings, this is a fun deviation. Really happy to pick up this GEC. You know, happy to have handled this one. I have a couple others, so it's just fun. It's interesting. There's something very, I don't know, maybe a little more interactive with the two-handed opening knife. It's not as practical or as useful. If you're used to, you know, pulling a knife out of your pocket with one hand, flipping it open, using it, popping it closed, slipping it back in the pocket, this is a two-handed opening knife. It requires both hands to open, both hands to close, so perhaps less efficient but more interactive, if you guys agree with that description. So, all right, we'll leave it there. I have to get this back to Blake. So thanks so much for watching, guys. More videos to come. There's going to be a staggering amount of videos to come. I'm going to have to try to possibly cut down on my video time to get it done. So stay tuned. Take care.